All right, I'm live, I think. If anybody's in the chat, let me know if you can hear me. We'll wait a few minutes, see if anybody jumps on. And if anybody's out there in the chat, let me know how this camera looks before we get into the main topic today. I did get a new camera a while back, and I found out I could use it for live streaming instead of my webcam. So this is the new camera. I'll shut it off here. This is the one that I was using. Looks all right, but I feel like the new one looks quite a bit better. So hopefully that's good. Anyways, topic of today is I'm about to lose my job and other updates. So why am I about to lose my job? I want to get into the background. Anybody that's been following the news, following the Trump inauguration, Elon Musk and the Doge and all that stuff. So I don't talk about it much and hardly ever on my YouTube channel, but I am a federal employee. Just want to make it clear that I'm not speaking in my official capacity right now. They get weird about that stuff. But anyways, I'm a federal employee. I have been for 12 years, and my job is proposal analyst. So I look at proposals from private industry to the government, and I've worked for the Army, for another place called Defense Logistics Agency, which a lot of people aren't as familiar with, but they do a lot of spare parts for the military. Worked for the Department of Interior, which when I moved to Montana, that's what I was doing. And part of what I want to talk about is when I moved out here to Montana, this was prior to COVID, so I was working in an office. And then COVID happened. Most of the federal workforce went home, and we're working from home just because of all the social distancing stuff. And then after that, there was some change over to hire people as remote workers. So having worked for the Army previously, I did apply for a job back with the Army. That was a promotion. So I got that. Let me check my messages here. I'm getting some messages, make sure my stream's working. Okay, nothing to do with that. But anyways, so I took a job back with the Army, and my home office is out of Texas now. So that's not in Montana. And we found out since the Trump inauguration that government-wide, they're canceling telework agreements and remote work agreements. So I want to talk about the difference there real quick for people that don't work in the government and might not know. If you get hired under a traditional position for the government, you could, after a certain time period, when I got hired, it was 2 years. I don't know what it is recently, but after 2 years, I could request to get a telework agreement, which means I always had a home office. My home office was a physical government building. And then after the period, like I said, 2 years, I could put in a request to work from home. And if that request was approved, I'd be allowed to work, 1, 2, 3, how many ever days a week from home. But I always had an office. When I got hired as a remote worker, you don't have a physical office space. Your office is your home. So on your personnel forms, it says your home address as your work site. So I had a home office here in Montana, took a promotion, started working out of Texas, and then I didn't have an office space in Texas. I just had my home here in Montana. Well, now the government is canceling all telework agreements, so anybody that had a home office has to go back to that home office, and they've already canceled remote agreements for people that work remotely that are within 50 miles of their home office. That doesn't apply to me. I don't know how many miles away I am, but it's a lot, 1,200, 1,400, heck of a commute, and that's one way. So right now, the best that I know, the Army has until the end of May to decide what they're going to do with remote workers outside of 50 miles. The administration, from what I could see so far and from people that I know in other agencies, they're taking a pretty hard line on remote work. And, a lot of people, they have strong feelings about that. People, both sides. And I can see a case either way. Even though I work remotely right now, I can see some case for returning certain people back to the office. But for people that don't know, my job is 95% Microsoft Excel, looking at contractor proposals. I do that alone. I rarely communicate with anyone, really. And then once I've finished my evaluation, I write up a report, and then I deliver it to somebody that does contracting for the government. So the majority of my work is one-on-one, and I don't collaborate with any team or anything too often. So the career field I'm in specifically is a real good fit for remote work, but I don't think that's going to matter. I think they're gonna cancel it anyway. So the best that I can tell, it's looking like the end of May. Probably that's going to be it. They're gonna, I assume, this isn't certain yet, but I assume they're going to tell me that I have to move to Texas, and if I don't move to Texas, that I'm going to have to resign my job. So that's where I'm at there with the job. Not ideal. I don't know if I said this already, but I've been a federal employee for 12 years, a little over. I started November of 2012, and in that time, I can't give out specifics, but in that time doing what I do for work, I've saved the government over $100 million. And unfortunately, I haven't gotten paid anywhere near $100 million. But I feel like I'm pretty effective at my job. But I also understand that the administration, they're taking a hard line on this stuff, and they're just going to, I think, blanket. I don't think there's going to be any exemptions. Initially I thought maybe there would be, but now I'm thinking there's not going to be any exemptions, and they're just going to all the way across the board wipe these things out. So the only thing that I maybe have going for me is that I do work for the Army Department of Defense, and it seems like so far the Department of Defense has been in the best situation compared to agencies like USAID or any of these other agencies, maybe Department of Education, all these other agencies that have cuts already. They've already fired like 350 people out of the Forest Service in Montana. So a whole bunch of stuff going on there. Yeah, but anyways, so that's that. Other news, totally unrelated to that. What am I doing right now? It's winter. It's been super cold in Montana. This is the snowiest winter we've had in Montana since I moved here. So I've been getting some inside chores done, hunting chores. One of the things that I did is I picked up this Stay Sharp. Let's see if it'll focus on there. Yeah, Stay Sharp broadhead sharpener. If you've never seen this, you should Google this thing. I shoot the QAD Exodus, which is this little, let's see if it'll focus on this. Maybe. Now, there we go. It's got a tiny blade, and but you can sharpen those blades. So if you go on the Stay Sharp site, you can look at getting one of those sharpeners. It's kind of ridiculously priced, if you ask me, for what you get. You get 5 diamond plates. So these are what the diamond plates look like. Grab one of these here. So you get 240 grit is like the coarsest one. Then it goes all the way up through 2,000 grit. And it works well, but boy, it takes forever. I timed myself the other day and to sharpen a single blade through all the stages, because you start like 240, then 400, 800, 1,000, 2,000. It takes like 25 minutes. So if you're sharpening, that's for one blade too, not one broadhead. So it takes you like hour and 20 minutes to sharpen a single broadhead. So I've been doing those here and there. I've got 5 or 6 sharpened. So I think it's made my money back so far on my investment, but I don't know. It's very slow. I wish there was a faster option. And I think part of the reason that it's so slow, the QAD Exodus, it's got a compound bevel. So if you look at the broadhead, it's got one bevel for the majority of it, and then at the top, it's got like a compound bevel where it's a little steeper. And you can't sharpen the compound bevel with that Stay Sharp guide. You kind of have to file or diamond plate that off over time. So that when you're using that 240 grit, you spend a lot of time on that, and it takes forever. So anyways, they do work. If you ever were looking at those and wondering if they work, they do work very well. It's just very slow. One of the other things I want to jump on here and talk about, I think today's February 17th. So if you're thinking about coming to hunt Montana this year, March 1st, the application period opens. So it's only like 11 days away, and then it closes April 1st. I don't know of any major changes this year. There was quite a few changes the last 2 years, but I think everything stayed almost the same this year. The deer numbers, I've talked about this a lot when I was podcasting with Dan. The deer numbers are in terrible condition still. I think last year was the worst year deer hunting that I've ever had out here. Elk numbers are pretty good. It's just hard to find somewhere where you can get to hunt elk on public land. Most of the elk in Montana are private land, and you're going to pay for that. whether that's through a guide or an outfitter or trespass fee or whatever. It's really hard to get on quality public land. So if you're going to hunt elk, I don't know, plan accordingly there, I guess. But yeah, I see a few people jumped on, but not too many. So no questions, and I'll be curious to see. I'm not going to stay on here too long. Just figured I'd jump on and do a live, see if anybody wanted to catch up, but I don't see any questions. So I'll cut it off here, and I'll be curious to see what kind of comments people have on this. And anybody out there is working remotely right now, non-federal job, and their place has any openings, shoot me an email or leave me a comment. Be interested to know. So that's it for today. Let me know what you thought of the new camera. Here, I'll shut it off again. This is the old one again. This is the new one. So let me know what you think of that, how the audio is. I don't plan on doing a bunch of lives, but kind of, like I said, I haven't been on in a month, and be curious to see what everybody's been up to. And let me know how you're preparing for your season and what you're doing this year. So thanks, everybody. We'll catch you next time.